All right, welcome back, Bobcats. Today we are going to be talking about customary lengths of measure. Get your notebooks out. Let's go ahead and title this up on top of your page, on the header of your page, Chapter 11, Lesson 2. Title you see there written in blue, Convert Customary Units of Length. Standard listed there. Our objective, our goal for the day. Say it with me, I will convert customary units of length. So that's what we're going to go ahead and work on today. Let's first talk about a little bit of vocabulary. So below your heading there, go ahead and write these two vocabulary terms. The first one is convert. Convert means to change one unit to another. We're going to talk a lot about that today. Customary system. So what we're talking about is we are doing customary system, which is the unit of measures we use here in the United States. That includes foot, pound, quart. So foot being length, pound being weight, and quart being capacity. We're going to talk about those in the next two lessons. We're going to be talking about all of these different types of things. So you see a map there down below. You see the United States colored in red, you have Liberia in red, and you have Myanmar, a little tiny country in Asia. Those are the only countries that use this customary system, or as it says on the graphic there, the imperial system. They are one and the same. You also see England there in yellow. They use a little bit of both, but they use mostly metric. All the other countries in the world use the metric system. So when you go to other countries, you may not find our imperial or customary system available to you. They will be using the metric system, which we'll be going over in a couple lessons. All right, so let's take a look at some of these customary units of length. Many of them I am sure you are familiar with. 1 foot, abbreviated FT, is equal to 12 inches, abbreviated IN. 1 yard, YD, is equal to 3 feet. 1 yard is equal to 36 inches. 1 mile is equal to 1,760 yards. And 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. These units of measure you need to write down in your notes. We'll be using these a lot in converting our measurements today. So go ahead and pause the video here. Get those measurements written down in your notes. Let's take a look at some of these measurements now. So on the next graphic here, I have a yardstick that pops out. I know we have one in the classroom. I'm sure you've seen them in other classrooms, a yardstick. So if you look carefully enough there, you see how that yardstick starts at 1 inch and goes all the way to the end, and 36 is actually covered up. So we just talked about a yard being equal to 36 inches. A yard is also equal to 3 feet. So I've put in there is 1 foot, there is 2 feet, and there is 3 feet that I've transposed right into the screen so you can kind of see what I'm talking about when we're talking about those measurements of 3 feet equals 1 yard. 1 yard also equals 36 inches, as you see it there on the yardstick. Here's another example, a teacher holding up 3 rulers. Foot long, together it equals a yard. I also have a graphic down there, again explaining 3 feet equals 1 yard, 36 inches equals 1 yard, 12 inches equals 1 foot. All right, so now let's talk about how we're going to make these conversion ratios. Now that we have the units of measure and the conversions, let's talk about how we're going to make these ratios. So you see there I have a fraction line. I'll write on that. So the fraction line right here, this line right here. We're going to be making fraction ratios which are equal to 1. So I have an example here I have 3 of these, right? Those are like having 3 feet. And I have 1 yard, which are equal to the same. It is like it's equal to 1. So I can take any measurement and multiply it by these equal ratios, like I have here, because it is equal to 1. Well, what is any number when I multiply it by 1? What's 3 times 1? It's 3. It does not change the value, right? What is 27 times 1? Well, it's 27. It does not change the value. I can do that to any number I choose. If I multiply it by 1, it's still going to be whatever that same number is. So when we're creating these conversion ratios today, that's all we're going to be doing. We're going to be multiplying them by a ratio or a fraction that is equal to 1. Where the top and the bottom are the same length. 3 feet is equal to 1 yard. They're equal to 1 because the top and the bottom of the fraction are exactly the same. So that's why I can say that I am multiplying these by the number 1. All right, so I told you why those conversion values are important. So now let's talk about how do I go about converting different units. So I have an example here. Let's say I have, let me get a pen. Let's say I have 6 yards and I want to convert that to inches. So how many inches are in 6 yards? So I would like you to go ahead and put down these steps, so to speak. Let's go ahead and write it. These are the steps that we're going to use to convert these values. So let's go ahead and take a look. Number 1, it says to observe the known value units and the unknown value units. So, like I just mentioned, we're going to take these 6 yards, and I want to know how many inches are in 6 yards. Let's say I'm redoing the patio, and I need to know I have 6 yards length, but they only come in inches for the bricks. Well, how many inches am I going to need? Real life situation. Well, what am I going to do? Step number 1 is to set the known value over 1. So we're just going to go ahead and make a fraction here. And I'm going to abbreviate yard to YD. And again, I'm going to set that over 1. That's exactly what this means, setting it over 1. Just making a fraction out of my known unit of 6 yards there. Step number 3, it says multiply the known value by 1 so that the known value cancels and the unknown value remains. So here is where we have to do a little bit of thinking. So I'm going to make a fraction line, like you to make a fraction line. What I say by cancel is we want to have our denominator and our numerator with the same measurement. So I have yard here in my numerator. And I want yard here in my denominator so that they are going to be able to cancel. Well, I want to know what? I want to know inches. So I'm going to put inches up here. Why am I putting inches up there? Because that's the known value that I want to find out. That's the known quantity. I want to know inches. So when it says multiply the known value by 1 so that the known value cancels the unknown value. That's exactly what I've done. I've set this up so that it's yard and inches. Well, now I got to make a conversion so that this is equal to 1, right? Well, I know that 1 yard is equal to 36 inches. We did that in our conversion table that we wrote down in our notes earlier. Again, this fraction right here is just like 1, right? 36 inches and 1 yard are exactly the same length. I showed you that earlier. I'm not changing the value, I'm just going to be changing the unit. So once I have that set up, we just did number 4. Now I'm going to go ahead and simplify. All right, I'm going to simplify not only the units, but I'm going to simplify the value as well, both of them. So what do I mean by that? I mean I can simplify yards and yards. So I do not have yards anymore. And now if I could simplify numerator and denominator, I would, but I have a 6 and I have a 36, so I just need to go ahead and multiply that. Notice I didn't get rid of this inches here because that's what we're going to end up with. So what I have here is I have 6 times 36 inches over 1. The yard has been canceled. I just have 1 times 1 here. That's how I end up with this numerator of 1. So now I just have to simply multiply 6 times 36. So let's go ahead and do that. 36 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 plus 3 is 21. So I have 216. So my answer, I'm just going to write that down here, 216, and don't forget your unit of measure here, 216 inches over 1. And we know anything over 1, we just get rid of that. That means our answer is 216 inches. So going back to my original problem then, 6 yards is actually equal to, get rid of this, it's actually equal to, I don't know if purple on purple is going to work too good there. Let's get a black marker. It's going to be equal to 216 inches. That's our answer. Going through those steps. 1 through 7, following those steps. Pause the video, make sure you have these written in your notes, along with the example problem, and we're going to put a couple more example problems in our notes as well. Okay, so let's take a look at this example here. Now we have 72 inches, and we want to know how many feet are going to be in 72 inches. So again, I start by just go ahead and writing this 72 inches. Don't forget your unit of measure, and I set it over 1. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the multiply, and I'm going to put my fraction line. Now is where I kind of got to think. I got to look. Well, I know I have inches there, so I write inches on the bottom, and I know I want to find feet here, so I need feet up on top. Now I got to look at it and I figure out, all right, well, how many inches are in a foot? This is where you go to your conversion table and you look and you find inches and you find feet. And when you get done, you're going to realize that you have 12 inches are in 1 foot. Okay, now we have our expression set up. We can go ahead and do the math now. I know my inches are going to cancel. That's going to leave me my feet, which that's what I want. Now we can just go ahead and do the math. We can simplify. Okay, well, 12 and 72 can be simplified. How many times does 12 go into 72? That would be 6 times, just like when we simplify fractions. And 12 divided by 12 is equal to 1. So I've simplified my fraction. Now I can go ahead and multiply. Multiplying 6 times 1 foot, which is equal to 6 feet. Here I don't have any unit of measure because we canceled that out if you remember. So here I have 1 times 1, which is 1. So 6 feet over 1 is just 6 feet. So let's go back and check for reasonableness. 72 inches, does that sound like it's about 6 feet? Yes, it is. That is correct. All right, so here's another problem. 19 yards equals how many inches? If you're feeling confident, think you can do this, go ahead and try one on your own. Pause the video and then come back for your answer to see if you did it correctly. I'm going to go ahead and solve this problem. Let's see what we get. Let's use purple. Purple's always fun. All right, so we have 19 yards And again, I just set that over 1. I'm going to put a multiplication. I'm going to put a fraction line. And again, remember, I look yards here. That means I need yards on the bottom. Why do I put it on the bottom? Because I know I want to make sure that they cancel. What is my destination? My destination is inches. Okay. Now I got to put the values in there to make that fraction equal to 1. So how many inches are in a yard? Go to my conversion table. I notice that there are 36 inches in 1 yard. All right. Let's do the math now. I can cancel the yards. I can't cancel any of the numbers because all I have is 1s on the bottom. So let's just go ahead and multiply here. I'm only going to have inches left here. I got to multiply, what is it, 19 times 36. I'll just go ahead and do that right over here. 36 times 19. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 3 is 27. 27, that beats 32. Put my 0 down. And 36 times 1 is 36. Now I can add 4, 8, 6. So 684 inches. 684 inches. Again, that's over 1 because I'm multiplying 1 times 1 there, which gives me a grand total of 684 inches. How'd you do? Were you able to get that one? I hope so. If not, take a look at what step you might need a little more work on. We're going to try a couple more of these and put these in our notes. Okay, let's try this one. 40 inches is equal to how many feet? Again, pause the video, try it on your own, and then come back for the solution after you have made your attempt. All right, let's take a look at the solution here. Again, I'm taking my value of 40 inches. I'm going to set that over 1. I'm going to multiply that by a fraction where I know I have inches on the bottom. Why do I know I have inches on the bottom? Because I have inches on the top here. What do I put on top? It's whatever my destination is. In this case, it's feet. So now I'm looking at it going, all right, how many inches are in a foot? Or how many feet are in inches? Well, I know 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Now let's go ahead and do the math. So I can scratch out inches. Those are going to cancel. And I know 12 and 40. Well, let's see. What goes into both 12 and 40? Well, I know 4 does. That's a nice friendly number. So that's going to make that 10. And 12 divided by 4, that's going to be 3. Can I simplify this anymore? Well, all I have is a 10 and I have a 3. Well, 10 and 3, that's not going to be simplified any further. So I have 10 thirds of a foot. Well, I have this improper fraction I need to get rid of, don't I? So let's change this 10 thirds. Let's go ahead and change this improper fraction. So I know 3 goes into 10 3 times. That's going to leave me 9. It leaves me 1. So it leaves me 1/3. 3 1/3 feet. Don't forget your unit of measure. 3 1/3. All right? 3 1/3. That's our answer. Hopefully you got that. If not, look and see where you made your mistake, so you don't make that mistake again on the next problem. Okay, let's take a look at these. We have a couple inequalities here where we're comparing to see which one is bigger. So our first one is 12 inches and 2 feet 3 inches. So how do I go about solving this? If you think you can do this on your own, by almighty, go ahead and try it, for sure. So when I look at this and I see 24 inches and I see 2 feet 3 inches, first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to convert this feet so that it's equal to inches. That's the first thing I want to do. So let's go ahead and convert these 2 feet. And again, I'm just going to do that like we have been taught. 2 feet. I'm going to change that to inches. I know 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. My feet cancel. That means I'm just multiplying 2 times 12, which is equal to 24 inches. But is that my answer, 24 inches? No, that's not my answer. That's just what 2 feet is. I also have this 3 inches, so I have to go ahead and add this 3 inches as well. So this is equal to 27 inches. So what's bigger, 27 inches or 24 inches? Of course, 27 inches is larger, right? So the alligator's opening is going to be to the bigger number. 24 inches less than 2 feet, 3 inches. Take a look at the other one, 7 yards, 20 feet. Which one is larger? Go ahead and solve it, and then come back to the solution. All right, so let's go ahead and see the 7 yards. 7 yards. Again, I'm going to set that over 1, and I'm going to multiply this by a fraction where yards are going to cancel, and feet are going to be up on top. Let me extend that fraction line. Now, how many feet are in a yard? Look to my conversion sheet, and it says 3 feet is equal to 1 yard. All right, let's simplify. Yards are going to cancel. I have nothing on the bottom but 1, so I just need to multiply these two together. What's 7 times 3? That's equal to 21. 21 what? Well, this is my unit of measure here that's left, right? 21 feet. So, which is bigger? This is equal to 21 feet. What's bigger, 21 feet or 20 feet? Well, obviously 21 feet are larger. 21 feet is greater than 20 feet, or 7 yards is greater than 20 feet. All right, let's take a look at this problem here now. Carlos is 63 inches tall. Question, what is his height in feet? Second question, what is his height in feet and inches? All right, if you're bold and willing, go ahead and try to solve this on your own, and then come back for the solution, if you would, please. All right, so let's take a look at this. So we have 63 inches. First thing we want to know is, all right, well, how many feet is 63 inches? So let's go ahead and convert this. 63 inches, I'm going to set that over 1. I'm going to multiply this by, extend that a little bit more, inches to feet. Why am I putting feet there? Because that is my destination. I want to know what feet. So let's go ahead and do put the conversion in there first. Oops, I forgot to do that, didn't I? All right, so 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Now we can simplify the inches. We are left with 63 and 12. Is there anything that goes into 63 and 12? Well, I know 3 does. 3 goes into 12 4 times, and 3 goes into 63, 21 times. Can I simplify anymore? 21 fourths? I don't think so. So that leaves me 21 fourths. And don't forget your unit of measure. Yes, don't forget that feet. That's the important thing. That's what we're after. All right, so I have this improper fraction we need to solve for. Let's see, where should we do this? Let's do this right here. So 21 and 4. 4 goes into 21. Can make 5 groups of 4, which equals 20, which leaves me 1 left over. So, what is the height in feet? Well, the height in feet, if I'm just looking at the whole number, is 5 1/4, 5 feet, right? The second question says, all right, what is this feet in inches? Well, I have this mixed number here of 5 and, 1/4 or 1/4 feet. So I'm just going to take a specific look at this fraction here. So what is 1/4 of a foot? 1/4 of a foot. Well, if I know that there are 12 inches in a foot, right? So it's 1/4 of 12 inches. Now we've been taught this word of means times, right? So I can rewrite this expression as 1/4 times, and this is a whole number, right? We set it over 1. Can we simplify this? Well, of course we can simplify this. We know that 4 goes into 12 3 times. This is equal to 3 what? 3 inches. So if we want this in feet and inches, this would be 5 feet and 3 inches. That is our final answer there. All right, so let's wrap this up for this lesson. So let's first think, what did we learn today? So we talked about conversions. We had a conversion table where we got the information from, and then how we converted one customary unit to another customary unit. Just talking about length today. Inches, feet, yards, miles. Those are our customary units of measure in the United States. So, in summary, today I learned how to convert one customary unit of length to another customary unit of length. All right, see you on the other side.